The smaller I am, the more space I take up in the world. If you want, I am growing as I'm shrinking. Corny as that sounds. Welcome to week 41 of my Mounjaro journey. My name is Ginger and this is my channel Ginger Goes GLP-1. In these weekly midweek musings, what I tend to do is just go over a couple of things that have been on my mind or anything that's really been affecting me, and with reflection and hindsight I've been able to sort of take an overview of where I stand on certain things. So this week, like I said, I feel like I'm taking up more space in the world, but in a good way, in a positive way, in a way that I may have been, or should have been, taking up space all along. But I haven't. I have shrunk myself to fit in, not be noticed, and if I am noticed, be noticed for not the right reasons. Okay, what do I mean by that? So I was going through some old journals and notebooks and things like that, and I write quite a lot of stuff down. I always have. It was originally done to motivate me and force me to get a grip on my life and, make changes. And by looking back at this, I'd be able to reflect on how far I'd come. And yeah, it didn't work. Didn't work at all until it did. So it did this week. So I'm going to read you a little snippet here, and then I'm going to put it in context of where I am today. I'll tell you after I've read it, when I wrote it. Okay, so growing as I'm shrinking. So this is the opposite of this. This is shrinking as I'm growing. I have forgotten about myself. I've denied myself. I've given up on myself. I've gone from a big, bold, wonderful life to a tiny, small, introverted, insignificant life. I have just given up on fun, adventure, excitement, wonder, joy, passion, and caring. I've abandoned all of those pleasures except for the ones that do damage and harm. I've chosen food over fun, alcohol over adventure, and loneliness over togetherness. I have paradoxically made myself as big as a house, but tiny as a mouse. The bigger I am, the less noticeable and validated I am as a person. I'm hiding in plain sight. Why can no one see me? That breaks my heart. Because, it goes on for a couple of pages. I'll spare you all of it. It does kind of descend into self-pity and self-loathing and lots of other things, but basically I feel almost completely the opposite of that now. I feel like I am on the cusp of change, that I am wanting to get back out into life, to be the person that I should be, become the me I'm supposed to be. I know that sounds cheesy, but I quite like it. And recognise that I've wasted so much time feeling, sad, lonely and miserable and depressed and overweight and things like that. Now, I'm fully recognising that for a very long time I was unable to change that for whatever reason. I think, like I said the other week, we all come to sort of these weight loss journeys in different ways and different approaches, and how we got here and why we got here and who we've been along the way, how we've let ourselves down and disappointed ourselves. But for whatever reason, we're all here now and we're all making this change right now. And Mounjaro or GLP-1s or whatever it is you're taking are helping to carry some of that burden, allowing us to, sorry, my voice is going again, allowing us to be more in control of our lives, and by doing so to be able to look back at that Now, it's July 2025. I'm 55 years old. I wrote that back in January 2010. So 15 years ago, I was feeling hopeless, helpless, depressed, sad, angry, all of those things. And I still wasn't able to do anything about it. I tried so many things, so many things. I feel like I didn't only just let myself down, I felt like I let my daughter down as well, but I'm not going to go there in this vlog. That's something completely different. But if you're a wife, husband, mother, father, brother, sister, you might be able to relate how you feel you've let other people down by being you in some weird way, by not being the version of you that you want to be, or not the version of you that they know that you can be, if that makes sense. And I think not only the weight loss aspect of GLP-1s, but obviously a lot of the mental health improvements, ADHD. I commented the other week that my ADHD has improved, and I think it's possibly because of a GLP-1 and how it's interacting with my brain and slowing me down, calming me down, allowing me pause for reflection and things like that. So there is so much more to this medication than just that it's helping you to stop put food in your mouth. I'm using these weekly midweek musings as a way of just reflecting on that with you, using myself as an example. And I'm really happy that some of you are posting like how much you enjoy these. That's good to hear for me. But I think it's just, I want to give voice to what many of us have been thinking. And, whether these conversations have been on paper, like it is for me in a journal, or they've just been in your head, or even if you've shared them with friends or loved ones, it's important to recognise when we have made changes and we are making improvements and we are doing our very best to be our best, that we take time to acknowledge. And I look back at that person in 2010, 15 years ago, and I just feel really sad and sorry for her, because she was lost and alone and didn't know who to go to or where to go for help. And I can't help but think, if I'd have had GLP-1s available to me back then, what difference could that have made? What life choices could I have made differently? Because do you know what, I'm 55, and not that I feel over the hill, but I definitely feel like 15 years of my life has passed by with me being incredibly unhappy and feeling like I'm underachieving, like I'm underperforming, I'm underwhelming myself and my expectations and who I thought I could be, what goals I had in life. And I want to say that probably for a lot of those years, I didn't even have any goals. I mean, I said I had a weight loss goal, but aside from that, I thought obviously the weight loss would solve everything. If I lost the weight, we all kid ourselves, don't we? If I lost the weight, my life would be so much different. And it is. My life is different at the moment. I have made so many changes, and I want to start embracing life. It's not too late. There are plenty of people doing this like later on in life and wanting to have some success on the scale, which then translates into being able to do more and have more enjoyment in life. Sorry, I'm really struggling with a croaky voice today. I keep having to pause. yeah, there are plenty of us coming to this sort of later in life and wanting to seize any lost opportunities that we've had along the way. Some of them aren't going to be achievable. Some of them aren't going to be things that we could probably do in our 60s or 70s that we could have done in our 30s or 40s. And I recognise that. I'm not saying that, we can take on, climbing Kilimanjaro at 70, although I'm sure it is possible. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that I think we need to, at some point, recognise and reconcile that those years are gone, but any improvements we make going forward are going to be improvements that we can apply into our day-to-day living. And I know many of you, me included, are worried about like how our bodies look post-weight loss. And I am going to do something about sort of this on a different vlog. It's just not all together at the moment, but I will be putting it out. And again, it's like I'm not happy about how I look in my underwear or naked. But I'm happier than I've ever been, because I've put in the time, the work, the effort, and I recognise and appreciate everything I've put my body through, and that it is going to serve me going forward what I'm doing. So I'm in a healthier body, even if it's not a model body by any stretch. I'm in a healthier body, which is going to allow me to do more things that will make me happier going forward. And more on that to come. I'm very aware I still have to go horse riding, and I am going to do that. I don't know why. I don't think I'm putting it off. I just don't think I've got round to doing it. Anyway, so yeah, it's like I said, the smaller I'm getting, the more space I'm taking up, because I feel I deserve this space in the world. I speak up now more than I used to. I don't tolerate bad behaviour the way that I used to. I will take a seat on a bus or a train or on an aeroplane without fear and worry that the person next to me is thinking, oh my God, that fat person's going to sit next to me. I won't have any room. They're going to take up all the space. Oh, they're going to be squeezing on my side. I don't feel like that anymore. And if you still are in a body that physically takes up more space, don't allow it to hold you back and not be present in the world still. We are in all different sizes and shapes and whatever. And we miss out on too much because we're trying to accommodate everybody else and not ourselves. And that's something that I'm not going to do anymore. I am going to take up the space that I deserve, and not I'm owed, but that I deserve and that is rightfully mine. I'm not going to try and encroach on anybody else's space and thoughts and things like that. But I am taking what I'm entitled to, space-wise. And whether that's physically, mentally, emotionally, that's my space. I'm claiming that bit of space back that I haven't used in the last 15 plus years. Even silly things like not wanting to cough or, drink in case I spill some, or I don't know, eat flaky pastry. I wanted to, this going back a couple of years, but somebody made, I think it was like a cherry slice or something in flaky pastry. And obviously when you've got bigger boobs, you get like a shelf And whereas a skinny person eating a cherry slice and like the crumbs they drop straight to the floor. But if you've got a big rack sort of sitting out to here and you eat flaky pastry, the crumbs land here for all the world to see. So it looks like only you have dropped food on yourself. And essentially you have, because everyone else's like just goes straight down. But I wanted that cherry slice. And I didn't have it because I was worried about the flaky pastry. How silly is that? All I needed to do was like brush the crumbs off, make a joke about my big boobs or whatever, you know. But the fear of being judged as, oh, gross, or, you know, look, she's got crumbs on her, or things like that, was too much. And there's so many little things. You'll all have your own instances. Not all of you. Some of you like gained weight later and maybe don't have the emotional baggage that comes with it. But for many of us that have been overweight for a long, long time, pick a scenario, apply yourself to it, and there'll possibly be a way that you don't fit into that scenario. There's a way in that scene, that setting, where you'll be embarrassed, or you will project onto other people what you think they are projecting onto you. And it's not always the case. Sometimes it is the case, and sometimes horrible people vocalize those thoughts. And it's those horrible people that have left us with doubt and shame and worry and embarrassment about what could happen and how we could be perceived, when a lot of other people aren't thinking that. But we shrink ourselves to try and stop situations happening where we will expose ourselves as the fat person. Obviously we are, because people can see our bodies, but without drawing undue attention to ourselves. All I would say is, and like I said, even if you're still in a big body and you have a long way to go, try and do something to claim a little bit of space back in the world. I'm not saying, you know, go bouldering in, you know, it's my space and I'm claiming it. You don't need to do that, but do something to recognise that you are worthy, you are valid, you have a right to be here, you have a right to participate, you have the same rights as everybody else. You know, so do something, find something uncomfortable that you have stopped yourself from doing. For me, flaky pastry, maybe I need to go. I can't eat the pastry at the moment because I'm watching my gluten intake and things. Use flaky pastry as an example. So I'm going to go into the office and I'm going to eat flaky pastry and let it get all over me. You know, like, because I'm just a human being. I'm just a human being having a flaky pastry experience. And that doesn't make me bad or wrong or unworthy or whatever it is. What is your word, you know, that you tell yourself? So I'm going to allow myself to do that. And I want you to allow yourself. And it doesn't have to be a big show of it. It can just be something very subtle that only you know and you recognise. If it's sitting on a seat on the bus, if you normally stand because you don't want to, you know, encroach on somebody else's space, and even if nobody else sits next to you, that's fine. You know, do something just to reclaim a little bit of space in the world and recognise that, you know, you're making inroads to self-improvement and you're not that person that you were before. You have grown as you've shrunk, and you're now sensing your own self-worth, even if it's only growing by 5% or 1% or whatever. Recognise that. Take it, claim it, own it, and use it as part of your progress so you can signify that you've made a small, slight change that has incrementally improved your life. And that's all we can really hope for, isn't it? So if, like me, you're trying to break free of the old me, the old you, and you're trying to break out of that skin, those patterns, your old self, your old way of being, like I said, recognise those small changes. One thing I will say, I'm wearing pink. I wear quite a lot of pink now. I've gone a little bit pink mad. Should change my nickname from Ginger to Pinky. I didn't used to wear pink. And it comes from my mum, unfortunately. And I don't think she realised when she said it how I wouldn't wear pink for years and years and years. But my mum said at one point, I really don't think there was too much harm meant, but it did. She said, fat girls shouldn't wear pink because it can make them look like a pig. And I've had that in my head for years and years and years. And I didn't wear pink because I've always like, oh, fat girls shouldn't wear pink because it makes them look like a pig, or people will think they're a pig, or it opens you up to being called a pig. And I've now got rid of that completely. I started wearing pink. I don't know where this pink wave came from, this big pink surge, this wave of pink that washed over me and everything. But I started off in my bedroom. I bought a pink duvet, and it slowly worked its way around my bedroom and into my clothes. So where I used to wear black all the time, I now own quite a lot of pink. Whether it suits me or not, some of it does, some of it doesn't. But now I'm in the pink, and obviously I've got my pink lips and my pink frame, and so yeah, my signifier was to start wearing pink. That was something that I've got rid of, that mantra, that thing that I've carried for so long. And all I want is for you to, I don't know, in the next week, month, 6 weeks, 3 months, set yourself a goal for 90 days that in the next however long it is you decide, you're going to take that one thing back. You're going to do that one thing. You're going to make a significant change to show yourself that you are worthy of the space in the world that you take up. And you don't have to share it. If you'd like to share it, put it down in the comments. You don't have to share it. It can be your secret. And only you know, and you can smile whenever you do that thing, wear that thing, say that thing, be that person, whatever it is. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, but I just want us to be able to own our lives a little bit more than we have done for quite some time. So if that's you, if this resonates, please leave me a thumbs up, maybe subscribe, leave a comment, and yeah, I hope you can all take a little bit of something away from this today. I will see you at the weekend for my weigh-in, whatever that is going to hold. Take care. Bye-bye.